Bam! Jayson Waller here with the BAM podcast. That's right, business and money podcast. You want to make money? You want to conquer business? You want to go ahead and get that mindset right to take you to the next level and level up? You got to listen to the show. We're going to have all kinds of guests on there, billionaires, millionaires, athletes, actors, you name it. We're going to have them on here. They're going to be talking about their success, their struggles, their life, their hardship. I'm going to talk about my success, my struggle, my life, my hardship. So tune in. Bam! Bam! Jayson Waller here with the BAM podcast. That's right, business, attitude, money, coming live here from the Charlotte, North Carolina studio. Make sure you know you can subscribe to us on Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Castbox, FM Radio, iHeartRadio, YouTube, you name it, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all of it, right? So anywhere a podcast is played, you can subscribe. Anywhere YouTube and any of the videos are, you can watch some of the clips here. So today's episode, we are going to talk about 5 steps to becoming a sales machine. That's right. I don't care what you're selling. I don't care if you're selling water. I don't care if you're selling solar. I don't care if you're selling home security. I don't care if you're selling tile. I don't care if you're selling whatever it is, right? Concrete, fans, it doesn't matter. There are steps to be successful when you do sales, right? And the first thing you got to do as a salesperson is you really, and I talk a lot about this in my coaching. So if you're digging what you're hearing on the podcast, you definitely can join the BAM community, right? It's our coaching community. It's $349 a month. I usually get you your first month free if you really want to try it and get in. It's a good community where you ask questions. We have Q&A, a lot of entrepreneurs on there, billionaires, millionaires, celebrities. Come on there, talk about their businesses, talk about their ups and downs. You can ask them questions, and you're part of that community and get some advice. And then you level up and you're ready to do the one-on-one coaching with me. I help you dig into the business completely, right? More, instead of a high level, we are in the weeds going over everything from ROAS and digital marketing and branding and all of that good stuff. So let's talk about steps to becoming a great sales machine. And steps to become a great sales machine, first is you got to establish rapport. You got to build trust. What does that mean? Well, that means basically if you are doing sales and you are going out there and just trying to jump into, here's my product, here's what I'm offering it for, what do you think, et cetera, you're going to have issues. You need to be able to build a rapport, build a relationship, make a friend, find out other things there in the home, or if they come to your business about them. You've got to use your ears. You got 2 of them. You got to use them when you're in sales. Find out the things that you need from them in order to better serve them. Because when you're in sales, you're serving somebody. So you need to find out and identify what their wants are, what their needs are. Why are you there? Why are they talking to you? What is your reasoning for that? One of the things that we would do, in my previous life at the solar company is we would go in and ask them, why am I here? What are the reasons you want to go to solar? And they would tell us, I don't like the utility company, or, I hate the power goes out. I want to have some kind of backup for that. I eventually want to, not have to pay time of use. Whatever the reasoning is, right? You want to find out, I want to save the planet. You want to find out these different reasons and purpose. And if you're dealing with 2 spouses, you're dealing with a husband and wife, they could be different. And that's okay. What's your reason? Okay, well, what is your reason? But you want to make sure that you build that trust and rapport and general connection. Part of building that rapport is talking about yourself. Hey, I'm Jayson. This is my experience. This is the company I work for. You got to build credibility when you're building rapport. Then you're asking them questions. Oh, how long have you guys been married? That's great. You guys got kids? Oh, fantastic. You want to make a friend. But then I go back to now you need to identify the customer's needs. So first you got to establish rapport, which is building, making a friend. And then 2, identify the customer's needs. Actively listen, ask the questions, uncover their pain points and their desires. People buy on emotion. They either buy because they're in pain or because they want something. And you need to figure out what that is and what's going on for them. And then you got to present a tailored solution, right? You got to demonstrate how your product or service or yourself will uniquely address their needs and add value to their lives. Let me say that again. How it addresses their needs and adds value to their lives. It's very key because when you're selling something, or like to say you're serving somebody, you've got to be doing something for their life, giving them the needs that they need, the things that they want, the things that they desire, fixing a pain that they have. 4, you got to learn to overcome objections. I'm real big into role playing. Let me think about it. Well, Mr. Customer, I see a lot of people like yourself. I'm here today only. If you want to call me back, that's fine, but I can't promise you'll meet with me, things like that. Or, let me think about it. Well, maybe I missed something of explaining it to you. Let me go over this again with you so I can answer any questions that you may have, right? A lot of people, when they invite you into the home or they come into your business, they have their guard up, right? Because they don't want to be sold. And your goal here isn't to becoming a sales machine. Really, it's 5 steps to becoming a sales machine, but really it's 5 steps to serve, right? Because you don't have to look at it as sales. Sales feels dirty, and it's not really dirty. It's you have a product or service that's going to address their pain point or their desire, right? And they have you in the home for a reason. If I'm in pest control and I'm here and I'm talking about it, they got bugs. I'm here because they have bugs. Let's address the bugs, right? Well, let me shop. Well, what do I got to do to get your business? Like, you got to start overcoming objections. You got to make sure, usually when people say no, it's because they still haven't brought their guard down. You haven't built enough rapport. So they still have their guard up and they're like, nope, I'm not going to sell today. Or you haven't built enough value in what you're offering. Right? People think it's just price. It's price is price. It's value. It is value. Value in you, value in your company, value in your services, value in your product. Value is better than price every time. Okay, people will pay for something because it's the value of it, what the credibility of it, the quality of it. That's important to people. Every now and then you get those buyers, I just want the smoking deal. And those usually the ones that are just going to shop and waste your time. But those ones that you have a potential to build value on, it's important that you do that, right? You got to learn to close the deal. How do you close the deal? Well, you employ effective closing techniques. You always follow up to ensure customer satisfaction and nurture long-term relationships. In certain businesses, it's not a quick close. It's a long-term close. So you've got to build that relationship. You got to check in with them. You've got to be able to answer all their questions. You've got to be able to educate them. Let them feel empowered. In today's world, people don't like to be sold. They like to be empowered. So you want to be able to go through everything that you can to empower the consumer to make a decision. Think about that. You're not telling them they have to do something. You're empowering them to do something. And then it is their decision. I mean, 70-80% of the appointments that we would book online were self-book. Why? Because we don't want to talk to them and say, do you want to book an appointment tomorrow? We empower them to do it, and 70% of them just book them themselves. Consumers want to be empowered. They want to be educated. They have things called cell phones. They get instant gratification, instant knowledge immediately, every day at their fingertips. Let's go. How are you going to do that when you're in sales? When you're in a home and you're presenting a product, how do you really discuss and get into the details of getting them instant gratification? One of those things is educating them there on the spot and empowering them to make decisions. So I'm a big believer of you don't go in, you don't talk cheddar, you talk about you talk about the company, break it up, and then you walk around the house and you envision your product, whatever it is, if it's a refrigerator, if it's solar, if it's home security. You're walking in and empowering them and letting them see what it's like to own that. You're assuming they're going to own that. Same thing with a car dealership. You're selling a car. Dude, those are my favorite people to train and coach because it's hey, you want to get in this car? It's the same thing, building a relationship. This car looks good on you. How's it feel? This was your car. This is what you were doing. That's your car. When you put ownership on something, it's so much easier for you to make a decision and say yes, because they're putting ownership on it. So you've got to put ownership on your product to the consumer. You got to assume the sale, right? You got to assume you're there for a reason. You're not there to eat cookies. You're there because they want a service. They have a pain point. They have a desire. They want you to address it. That's why you're there. So you got to go through this. You got to establish rapport. You got to identify customer needs. You got to overcome objections, and you got to close the deal. And it's in that order. Rapport, friendships, asking questions. Hey, I see you got a Clemson flag. Fantastic. I love Clemson. My sister went to Clemson. High five, building rapport. Hey, you've got 2 kids? I've got 2 kids. High five, building rapport. Oh, you've been in the area of this long? Me too. I'm actually you're from Texas? Fantastic. Building rapport. Right? Identify customers' needs. Why am I here? Why are you looking at my product? Why did you invite us here? Why are you interested in this item? Some of you might just be door knocking or you guys are approaching, they didn't reach out to you, and you're in there, then talk about their pain points. Something triggered. Why is it you invited me in? We're talking about this. What is it that you think this will benefit you or not benefit you from? Where does your situation with this thing? So let's talk home security. We'd knock on a door. We'd talk about, hey, listen, we'd come put a sign in your yard. You get the installation. You get the equipment. You only pay for the monitoring. Keeps the bad guys away. Get your little yard sign. You're 19 times less likely to get broken into with a yard sign. They liked that because it was a pain point. They don't want to be the guys to be broken into, or the guys or ladies that don't have the system. So they'd be like, look, if I can get all this done, I get you a couple months free. Worst place we can sit down, we talk about it. Then I would build value, talk about my company, talk about the employees, me and the team, talk about, how long we've been in business, talk about some of our customers in the area. That's building rapport, right? Building credibility. I'm identifying their needs while I'm in there. I'm asking certain questions, hey, so you got kids. Oh, you got someone older. They have a little button, a key fob. They fall and can't get up. We got that. You want to find those pain points and desires and address them. Then you got to tailor that solution. I'm not a big fan of a menu. I don't like to give a customer 12 options of something. I like to customize it for them and give them 1 or 2 options. Because when you give them a menu, they're going to think about it forever and they're not going to buy. They're hot and ready for a reason. They have you in the home for a reason. They brought you into the house for a reason. They raised their hand for more information for a reason. So you've got to go in there and find those reasons, ask the right questions to get to those reasons, and not give them a menu to just think about it. Think about this. When you walk into a store, if that's what you still do, most of us buy online, but if you walk into a Nordstrom, or you walk into a Saks, or you walk into wherever, JCPenney, wherever your place is, and you walk in and you're looking at jeans, and someone says, hey, can I help you with something? 99% of the time you say, no, I'm good. But if somebody walks up and they assume your size and they're like, oh, here, well, you should go try these on. These will look good. And that is your size. You're like, oh, shit, okay. You're more likely to buy from them. Why? Because A, they're assuming the sale. B, they've paid attention to your size as what you like. C, they're coming through and they're not waiting for you to make a decision. They're not giving you 1,000 options. They're giving you one option. They're saying, here is what you need. This is what you've been looking for. You've come in the store. Here it is. They've made that whole menu shrink down to 1 or 2 items to where you're like, oh shit, unless it's completely off and you're looking for a jacket, right? But my point is like that happens all the time. That's why some of the salespeople at some of these clothing places, they would crush it because they were so good at that. They were so good at like, hey, you look for shoes? Look, I've got these. Try these on. Try these on. What's your size? Let me go get you some to look at. Like people want to be valued, and people want, believe it or not, people want to be sold, but they want to feel empowered. They want to be able to help make that decision. They don't want it to feel grimy. They want it to feel like it's part of their decision. So you have to educate the consumers. You have to build the credibility. You have to build the rapport. Okay? You have to overcome the objections. I like to ask people and deal with the objections up front so we don't get to the end and they find an excuse. How long you've been in the home? How long you plan on being in the home? Are you going to stay in the home a long time? Like I ask all the qualifying questions that they can find an excuse to not buy from me at the end. I ask up front. So whatever the product is you're selling or whatever you're doing, you go down to the details of the things that they usually not buy for or reasons that they decide to not make a decision. Ask those early and often and put those to bed so they can't use them at the end. Because then you go, well, you told me you're saying that they can't go back to that. It's very key that you do that, okay? Now, what I'd like to talk about a little bit is, when you become a sales machine or you learn to serve others, 5 steps to becoming that, it's all about sharing the secret of success with your peers and the people that work for you. You want to replace yourself. If you want to move up in a company, you've got to be able to scale. You've got to show people that recipe and that sauce. But every personality is different. And there are certain people that can sell to other people than others can sell to others. That's how it works. Like, I'm a big fan of female salespeople. They're less intimidating in a lot of cases on certain products and more intimidating on other cases of other products, right? If a very attractive female is in sales, it's going to be hard for her if she's in a home with a insecure female and a husband. But if she's, selling to just a husband, she's probably going to do better than just a guy did. Or if she's selling just the wife, she's probably going to do better than just the guy did. There's a lot of things here that play into that. into the emotions of a decision, into the trust and credibility of a consumer and what they think, into them feeling it right. And so it's kind of like when you go to these nice gyms, you go to like a Lifetime or you go to an Equinox, all those buff trainers, they're not wearing tank tops and their muscles all bouncing out. You don't see the girls in yoga pants and little half shirts and body parts hanging out. No, they're dressed very conservative. Why? Because they don't want the people they're training to feel insecure or the spouses to feel insecure. They want to be able to get their clients and not have that noticed. You need to do the same thing in sales. It's okay to be you got to know your audience. It's okay to dress professional and do things, but you got to know who you're going to. If you're going to a construction site and, you're a dude in a suit, you might want to dress down a little bit. If you're going to a family and you're a lady in a dress and high heels and red lipstick, you might want to tone it down a little bit. Like, you got to know your audience and you got to play to your audience, and your audience, your pool of customers, your audience is going to be different a lot of times. And you've got to be able to play to that in order to maximize those opportunities that you get. So it's very key that you do that. You focus on your environment. You focus on the opportunities that you're given. You focus on the ability to be able to, change from one client to another. How am I going to be, because you're going to have different personality for different folks. I mean, that's how it works. Like, if I'm selling a man and woman together compared to a man together, I might have a different kind of closing technique. I know that in most homes, women make the decisions. Men think they do. Women make the decisions. So I know that I am encouraging the man. Yeah, things are good, but I'm asking the wife. Right. And so, but if it's some old school, old fashioned fella that's like, hey, look, like, I make the decisions, he's one of those guys, then I'm including the wife and I'm asking the fella. You got to know your audience. You got to do your homework, and you got to be able to pick up on that stuff pretty quick. And what gets you to that point is really experience and reps and knowledge, right? You've got to get into homes and get the rejection. You got to get to be told no, and you got to understand the no's, and you got to get the maybes and the yeses, and you got to understand what's triggered each thing. And you've got to learn from that and implement that every day. And so that's how you get really better. So if you follow these 5 steps, again, establish rapport, building trust and genuine connections with your clients, and a foundation for successful sales. Identify customer needs, right? So you're actively listening and asking questions to uncover the client's pain points and desires. You present tailored solutions. You demonstrate how your product or service uniquely addresses their needs and adds value to their lives. You overcome objections. You anticipate and address potential concerns, showcasing your knowledge. Very key that you're the knowledgeable one. You're the specialist there. And confidence in your offering. Lack of confidence, they're not going to buy from you. You better go in confident. If they see you excited and confident about something, more than likely they're going to buy it from you. If they see, well, you're like, I don't know, maybe, they're not going to buy from you. So get all that half-ass, half confidence out the window before you walk into the home. Make sure you're super confident and you believe in it. Don't be selling something you don't believe in. If you believe in it, it's felt. That passion is felt by a consumer, not heard. They want to feel that you believe in what you're selling. You got to show them that. And then 5, close the deal. Pretty simple. You really got to, have effective closing techniques. You got to do all those steps I told you about. You got to follow up, ensure customer satisfaction, nurture the long-term relationships, ask for the business. Don't be scared to ask for the business. Don't ask open-ended questions. Is this something you think you'd like? No. Do you want to move forward? No. Assume the sale. Don't ask open-ended questions. Make sure you ask questions where they have to give you an answer. Would you like to get installed Tuesday or Thursday? Like they can't say yes or no. They have to say Tuesday or Thursday. Like, those are the kind of questions that I like to teach to ask. So then it's a little easier for a consumer. Like, they're in now, right? Or they got to say, oh, wait, I'm not doing this yet. Okay, well, what other things do I need to cover? That's overcoming the objections. So you got to be able to be quick on your feet, and you got to be able to anecdotally pick exactly what route you're going to go with each consumer and who your audience is. So that's it. I thought this would be a good little training seminar here on this podcast. Make sure that you subscribe, like I said, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all the podcast platforms, YouTube, all the channel. Make sure if you're interested in the BAM coaching, go to JaysonWaller.com, join the BAM community, get in there. If you want the one-on-one, you can fill out a form. We'll get on a 15-minute call. We'll chat about that. Have a blessed day. BAM!